excuse language sounds like. Oh, sorry I'm late, I have ADHD. I can't do this because of my anxiety. Ownership and substance sounds like I live with ADHD. It means time management is a challenge, but I've built alarms and planning systems to keep me accountable. If I slip, here's how I'll course correct. I live with anxiety, so speaking up in meetings can feel overwhelming, so I prepare notes ahead of time to make sure my contributions are clear. You notice the difference? The excuse language puts the weight on others to adjust for you. Ownership language shows that you're actively building capacity within your reality. This is the deeper line between fragility and growth. Fragility says, because of this, I can't. Growth says, because of this, I'm learning how. Your diagnosis is context, who you become through it. That becomes your core.
She talked about excuse language. The question I want to pose to the panel is, what would it sound like to take ownership in a tough moment?
I was sitting there laughing because I was kind of having a debate with somebody just today about how you may have a personal flaw and you are unwilling to course correct, like the young lady just explained, and you expect other people to understand it. Like I really hate when people say, "Oh, well, I'm sensitive." That's that type of thing make me want to slap somebody in the back of the head. Like, okay, that's a personal thing. So you expect everybody else to compensate because you're sensitive, but you realize you're sensitive, and then you still won't correct the fact that you're sensitive, right? And a lot of us, we have our issues with communication, but I always tell people, like, sometimes you just got to give people the benefit of the doubt. You can't take everything the worst possible way. Yeah, she was kind of killing it because...
Fellas, let's talk facts. Your belt game can make or break your look. You can have the cleanest fit, but if your belt is cracked, stretched, or sagging, you just killed the vibe. And believe me, women notice. First impressions matter. That's why I'm excited to partner with Anson Belt and Buckle. They completely reimagine how belts should work. No more holes. Anson uses a micro-adjustable track system that gives you the perfect fit every single time. Once you try it, you'll never go back to a regular belt. And here's what sets it apart. One box gives you 3 buckles and 3 straps. That's 9 different combos. More versatility, less clutter. You'll look sharp in every situation. Anson is family owned, backed by a lifetime guarantee. And because they're sponsoring this video, you'll get a free bonus buckle and a strap when you click the link below or scan the QR code. Don't wait. Upgrade your belt game today.
She was kind of killing it because she obviously recognized her issue, which was her ADHD, and she figured out if she was talking about, first person or whatever, but either way, the explanation was great. I know you had a question in there too. I just had to get that out. Pause, but I'll answer the question. Could you present it again for me?
The question is, what would it sound like to take ownership in a tough moment?
Taking ownership is admitting when you're wrong and actively trying to correct that issue. So let's just say we took the same exact scenario I just spoke of, like a person's sensitive. Then ownership would have been like, you know what? That's my bad. Sometimes I'm a little too sensitive, right? And then I could receive that a lot better. I could still keep it in mind, which I would try to, but at least you took onus of it.
Before you take ownership, you have to ask questions to whoever is approaching you with the issue. So usually accountability starts with someone telling you, oh, you did this wrong. Because sometimes you tell yourself you did something wrong. That's kind of unlikely. But someone telling you, hey, you need to try to fix this. I see this error or whatever. You ask questions just to get clarification so you could understand where the person's coming from. And then from there, if you get what they're saying, sometimes it takes time, but when you get what they're saying, then you basically take time to fix the issue at that tough. It could be tough for you. So you take time to fix the issue and don't put these crazy expectations on yourself, basically saying, oh, let me fix this in a week. Sometimes it don't take a week. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it takes years. But if you're actively practicing and trying to get better at the issue, then eventually you'll get there. I think a lot of us put too much heavy expectations on us, which can make it tough. But we have to understand that we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect, but we're trying to achieve, a goal.
I think an example would be like, say you got $1 million worth of jewelry on and you walking through the hood and you get robbed, or someplace and you get robbed. Taking accountability for that would be like, I know that I shouldn't have got robbed. However, the things that I could have done prior to this moment to prevent this is not walk around with $1 million worth of jewelry. That was dumb on my behalf. I could have hired personal security if I was going to do that. Like, so I kind of look at it like the steps that you take to ensure you don't put yourself in that same situation, regardless of who's ultimately at blame, the portion that you played in creating conflict or the issue, you figuring out a way to solve that. That's what I personally do.
I'm sitting here thinking about this question. The only thing that comes to mind, JR, is what doesn't sound like taking ownership is prefacing a potential mental ailment or something along them lines before you engage with somebody. Like my ADHD or my anxiety doesn't sound like ownership to me. It sounds like you're giving someone like a subject line, or you're introducing them to the nonsense that they're going to interact with. So I don't, and I think people do it a lot. I think they may do it intentional, maybe not, but that doesn't sound like ownership to me at all. And I know it's become a commonplace in the way people interact now. It's like, oh, excuse my behavior by my ADHD. And that's what came to mind for me. I don't know if I answered the question correctly.
Personally, it is, now this is something that I had to overcome. When you do something to someone, when you have wronged them intentionally or unintentionally, right? And they bring that problem to you, you can't make excuses. Like it angers me when people, well, if you hadn't done this, then that wouldn't have happened. Or if this hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have done that. Making excuses, basically making yourself the victim to some arbitrary situation, instead of just saying, you know what, that wasn't right, because it's not your time to bring up something else, something they did or something someone else did. It's your time to be like, you know what, my bad. Like, I didn't mean to, or I meant to, and it wasn't right. And now I understand. Like, you have to admit to yourself that what you did is wrong. But people like to use something else as a scapegoat and make themselves the victim so that they can get out of the situation, get out of taking accountability for it, and just owning that you hurt them, own that you didn't do something right, and it's okay. Just do it better the next time. Like, ask questions. How could I have done that better? What could I do different in the future? How would you like for me to fix that? Because you playing the victim is not going to make that person feel better. And then there's a strain on the relationship after that. That's a hard lesson I had to learn.
Okay. You have to admit the mistake, or you have to, number one, you want to bring your tone back. I know it's my struggle once I get triggered, but you definitely want to take ownership of what was wrong. But that's one part of it. You let me see what else you got to do here. You definitely want to find some humility in your mistakes that you made, and you want to self-correct from there.
Yeah, I agree with Bo. It's one of the I've had to learn the hard way that when someone has an issue with you, it's not your time to say, well, bitch, you did it too, or nigga, you did the same shit. So it's, it's just something that comes with growth and maturation. I'm typically, though, I don't apologize for anything if I've done it, because 99% of the time it was intentional. So the people who are in those spaces where I apologize to them when I or will admit that I've done something unintentional to them, I try to make sure I listen and own it right away. Like, especially with my kids, I'm let them know, like, hey, sometimes parents, we fuck up too. But if I tell them to go find something and I say it's somewhere and then he can't find it and he's getting mad because he thinks I'm gonna get mad at him for not finding it, and it was somewhere else, I apologize. Say, hey, yeah, my bad, man. It was over here. So I'm not too big to apologize to, the people that matter, but the ones that don't, fuck them.
I agree with everybody else. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Now, there are people that went already. I want to add proactiveness, like active proactiveness, like in the moment, not more like a reflection or a deflection. Like if I actively know I'm doing something wrong, I don't want to just say, well, I lack communication. And then I intentionally don't communicate and say, well, I told you I didn't communicate. It's almost like I gave you a disclaimer for the behavior. So I would just say me being proactive and acknowledging, like everybody else was saying, but not only that, more so being like solution oriented. Like going back to what Lady Di was saying, like we have to ask ourselves questions. What am I doing wrong? How are my actions playing a role into this outcome? What can I do so that this doesn't occur again? What can I proactively do to contribute, right? A more positive outlook. So you definitely have to be solution oriented. And I think that takes clear communication. So we can acknowledge that we're doing something wrong, but I think if we don't know how to communicate, and I say like proactively commit to the solution, then I think we'll find ourselves in that same situation again.
Where do we rely on labels or moods to excuse behavior?
Well, if you keep like, I guess, having the same behavior over and over again, then it's kind of like saying, okay, well, I have this. I think someone mentioned anxiety or whatever. You have this, so you have to how I see what y'all was saying. Like you hate when people do this. Oh, this is my issue, and it's kind of giving them an excuse. But how you should do it to me is you tell yourself that you have this thing, so you could keep reminding yourself you need to fix it. Because I feel like if we're not addressing what we really have going on, it's never going to get fixed. So like I mentioned someone being drunk earlier, right? You have to admit, it's all about admitting is what I'm saying. You have to admit that you are this and then get to that space where you can, okay, I accept who I am. Let me figure out how I can make this better. So putting a label on something to me is not bad. It's just, this is what you are. It is what it is, and fix it. I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's just, I guess it depends. If the person just keeps doing the same thing over and over again, they're not trying to fix it. So
I think it's when people use that zodiac sign nonsense, like, oh, I'm a Gemini. And then they get from there. And like, you're about to deal with some nonsense. That's what I think answering the question when you rely on labels. Like anytime you know that your zodiac sign got some effed up behavior and you hit people with that just so they can expect very little from you. That's what I think it looks like, JR.
The zodiac sign thing is so dumb anyway. It's not even real. So when some people say that, I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you joking? Like, get the fuck out of here with that. But I'm talking about something real. Like, you have a mental issue. Maybe they have a mental issue. I'm sorry. Anybody that believes in the zodiac sign, I apologize. But that's just how I feel about it. I used to think, so I'm saying it because I used to be into zodiac signs. Like, I'm a Virgo, right? And I used to say, okay, this is what it is. I used to read the daily horoscope. Okay, this is how my day is going to be. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be it. And then it came to, okay, Virgos, you belong with the Taurus. And I'm like, I've never dated a Taurus. Matter of fact, I'm not even married to a Taurus. And we've been married for so long now. So when I was seeing stuff like that, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, if you just want to say I'm this because I'm in this month, I'm in this bracket, cool. But when they was going too far with some of that stuff, it's just like, people need to stop believing it. I do understand people have different characteristic traits, but I do not believe it aligns with the month that you were born. But that's just my opinion.